Hello, welcome back to my channel, Thriving, Not Just Surviving. I'm your host, Charlie Henry. I have just finished reading a really interesting book. It's called Ageless, The New Science of Getting Older Without Getting Old by Andrew Steele. Now, Andrew Steele is a world-leading longevity scientist, and I found the book really interesting. It gave me a much clearer understanding of exactly what happens to the body when we age. And it's also written in really easily accessible language. He doesn't use a lot of heavy scientific jargon. It was easy for me as a layperson to understand. And it's full of delightful moments of humour. My favourite moment was where he talks about a naked mole rat and describes what it looks like and says that it looks like a man's ding dong, except with teeth and claws. And that really made me chuckle because it's kind of true. But the best part of the book is towards the end, where he gives his top 10 tips for leading a long life, and these are tips which will increase your lifespan but also increase your health span. So lifespan is how long we live, and health span is increasing the amount of years that we are healthy, because obviously if we want to live long lives, we don't want to live long lives kind of being really frail and sick and being in nursing beds with other people caring for us. We want to live long lives that are also healthy and productive. So these tips are going to help us to do that. And what I really liked as well was that some of the tips are things that you would expect, but one or two of them I found really surprising. So I did actually learn something new from this book. So let's get into it. Tip number one will probably come as no surprise, is don't eat too much, and especially it's important that you maintain a healthy weight and a healthy waist circumference. So that should be no more than 37 inches for a man and no more than 31 inches for a woman. He said that, you know, playing into that obviously is what your diet is like. So eating a diet that's high in fibre with lots of fruit and vegetables, less saturated fat from animal products, but he did make the point that the science is less clear that it's actually the diet that is causing people to have long lives, because obviously if people have a healthier diet, they tend to be slimmer. So the science is not quite clear yet whether it's the fact that people are slimmer and don't have excess visceral fat around their tummy, especially and around their organs, whether it's that is making them live longer lives, because then they have a lower chance of getting things like heart disease and strokes and diabetes, or whether it's the diet itself. It could be both, but it's very clear that it's important to be a healthy weight and not be overweight and not eat excessively. Tip number two is get some exercise daily, at least 15 minutes. Even 15 minutes of moderate exercise daily halves your chance of death from any cause, and obviously 30 minutes of exercise is even better than 15 minutes. However, there is kind of a sweet spot, because he points out that beyond 60 minutes there isn't much benefit. So if you're already doing 60 minutes a day, for example, you won't get any extra benefit from doing 90 minutes or from doing 2 hours. So really you want to be doing at least 30 minutes, somewhere between 30 minutes and 60 minutes per day is ideal, and that significantly decreases your risk of things like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, strokes, even things like dementia and Alzheimer's. The risk for any of those things comes down the more that you're exercising. Exercise really is one of those magic bullet pills, and if you could kind of take a pill that would give you all of the same benefits as exercise, people would be queuing up around the block to do it. This is completely free, so what are you waiting for? If you're not already doing it, you need to start. Tip number three, which will probably not come as any surprise to you as well, is to get 7 to 8 hours sleep per night. And in a very similar way to exercise, sleep causes so many beneficial reactions to occur in the body. It improves your skin, it actually makes you look younger to other people. Even when strangers test how you look after a night of sleep and they don't know you, they will always estimate your age as being older than if a stranger looks at a photo of you after a full night's sleep. It affects your hormone levels, it affects your gut bacteria, it affects your immune system, it affects absolutely every single aspect of your body, which is why sleep, again, just like exercise, is like one of those magic bullet things that it's completely free and easy to just make sure that you're getting a full 7 to 8 hours sleep per night. Tip number four, get vaccinated and wash your hands regularly. He points out that the flu vaccine especially is very important for people as they are over the age of 65, because after that age you're 10 times more likely to die from the flu than when you're younger, and it's just because our immune systems get far less efficient with age. And just as important is regular hand washing, also just to stave off infections, because those small opportunistic infections which you can easily shrug off when you're younger, the older you get and the less efficient your immune system is, the more likely it is that those could develop into serious complications which can cause you to be hospitalised and then die. Tip number 5, and this is one that I found quite surprising, is to take care of your teeth. Now, I've always taken care of my teeth anyway, just pretty much for vanity's sake, and because I don't want to have black teeth that are falling out of my face, and I don't want to have lots of high dental bills. But I didn't realise that it was actually elongating my health span and my lifespan as well. And you would think that it's perhaps to do with infections occurring in your mouth, which can then, lead to like spread to other parts of your body. But it's actually not that. It is because if you don't look after your teeth, tooth decay and gum disease causes a proliferation of bad bacteria in your mouth, which then causes an inflammatory response in the body, which can then spread to other systems of the body and lead you at greater risk from heart disease and from stroke, believe it or not. So it's a really simple thing to just brush your teeth twice a day. And in the book, he mentions that even people who brush their teeth twice a day versus people who brush their teeth once a day, those who brush their teeth twice a day have a lower risk of death at an early age than people who brush their teeth once a day. So even a small change like that, which again is very, very easy for anyone to implement, makes a huge difference. Tip number 6, again, will probably come as no surprises, is to wear sunscreen, preferably SPF 50. And if you're very fair skinned, you might need to reapply that several times a day. It not only stops your skin from aging, because obviously the damage caused by the UV rays depletes your collagen and your elastin, so it stops your skin from aging, but it also lessens your chances of death from cancer. Tip number 7 is regularly monitoring your blood pressure and your heart rate. Now these days there's plenty of apps and Fitbits and different kind of Apple Watches and stuff that you can wear to make sure that you're keeping your blood pressure down and that your heart rate is at a healthy level. Your heart rate should be between 60 to 100 beats per minute, and if it's anywhere between that, it's kind of within the healthy range. However, he points out that a heart rate of 100 per minute versus 60 beats per minute doubles your risk of death from any cause. So, again, that goes back to the fitness. You want to be getting as fit as possible, because the closer your heart rate is to 60, the less chance you have of dying young. And again, blood pressure is the same thing. High blood pressure is a silent killer, and it increases your risk of death from lots of causes, from heart disease, from strokes. If you know that you have high blood pressure, the best thing to do is just go to your doctor immediately and to come up with a strategy for lowering that down. That strategy might involve making changes to your lifestyle, or it might involve taking medications, but you need to, if you've got high blood pressure especially, you need to get it checked out by a doctor ASAP, because you can't just kind of make those interventions and hope that it's going to go down by itself. Your doctor needs to be monitoring it to make sure that you're not going to die, because that is very, very serious if your blood pressure is high. Tip number 8, and I obviously have mixed feelings about this, was don't bother with supplements. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I'm a big fan of supplements and I take a stack of supplements daily. But what he points out is that there isn't actually research that proves that taking supplements will lengthen your lifespan or your health span. But the issue I have with this is, and this is where the mixed feelings come in, I don't think majority of people are taking vitamin tablets thinking that it's going to lengthen their life. That's not why I'm taking vitamin tablets. I take supplements because it increases the quality of life, like right now. It's not about increasing my lifespan in the future, it's about increasing my quality of life right now. For example, the liposomal vitamin C that I take, that I've mentioned in another video, that improves my immune system. It means that I don't get sick as often, and it improves the quality of my skin. My skin looks brighter and healthier, it's known to boost collagen and all that kind of thing. So I don't think supplements, I think he's just giving advice in terms of like what the science says in terms of living a longer life. In that respect, then supplements, the science isn't clear that it makes a difference. But to me, I've seen that it makes a difference in my quality of life, in how I look, in how I feel, in how I perform on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to carry on taking the supplements personally. Number 9, again, similar to number 8, is don't bother with longevity supplements. And the reason why he says this is because, again, for the same reason that longevity supplements are a very new thing in the market. He thinks, he says that the science isn't quite clear yet. We don't have the long-term data where people have been taking this for decades and decades to be able to prove that it actually lengthens your life. But again, it's the same for me as with the regular supplements. For me, longevity supplements, I've seen that they've had an impact on how I feel on a day-to-day basis. And I know that, I felt better since taking them. I've had my menopause symptoms have come down, my sleep has improved, I just feel better on a day-to-day basis, and I feel stronger and healthier, and I feel younger. So, it could be a placebo effect, who knows, but I can see kind of physical changes in myself. So for me, I'm going to carry on taking them, even though the science isn't yet clear that it's actually going to increase my lifespan or my health span. I just feel like it's helping me right now, so I'm going to carry on taking them. And number 10, and this is really interesting and it kind of made me laugh, it's be a woman. Because obviously, 50% of the population doesn't have the choice of just being a woman, but he says that the science is, again, very clear. XY chromosomes, which men have, mean that they don't have an extra copy of any gene that might go wrong. So, for example, this is the reason why men are more often colourblind than women, because they have an XY chromosome. So if there's a problem in the gene which detects colour in the brain or the eyes, then it means that they don't have a backup of that gene to be able to step in where the faulty gene has occurred. Whereas women, we have XX chromosomes, so it means that we have double copies of every gene. So when there's a gene that is a bit faulty or goes wrong, we have a backup. And this isn't just in humans, this is common to every single animal in the animal kingdom. And it just means that women have got a slight advantage when it comes to age-related risk factors for any kind of illness, because often these illnesses are caused by DNA mutations. As you get older, the cells get less good at replicating, and if there's small DNA mutations in a woman, the XX, the double, the fact that we've got copies means that the other one can step in. I'm probably explaining this terribly. But that was my understanding of it. If you want to explain it, have it explained even better by somebody who really, really thoroughly understands this, I suggest you pick up the book. But, so obviously, being a woman, being a biological woman with XX chromosomes isn't a lifestyle choice. You can't change the fact that you've got XY chromosomes if you were born a man. But what you can do if you're a man is just try even harder at all of the other things that I've discussed. So you have to try, I think, that little bit harder with making sure that you're getting regular exercise, with making sure that you're keeping your waist circumference down, with making sure that you're getting a full 7 to 8 hours sleep, and all of the other things which are in your control. So I thought this was one that was really interesting, and it surprised me. But I did learn something, and I'm glad I read the book for that reason. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this roundup of the top 10 tips from the book Ageless by Andrew Steele. Like I said, I really enjoyed reading this book, and I highly recommend you pick it up yourselves. It is full of really, really interesting facts about longevity, about anti-aging, and just about science and biology in general. If you're fascinated by the human body, as I always have been, then you will love this book. And, don't get put off by the fact that it's a scientific book. It is incredibly easily written. He goes out of his way to explain really complex scientific terms in a way that is very easy for a layperson to understand. I will put a link in the description below so you can see the book and pick it up yourself. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about any of these tips? Are you following all of these things already? Do you object to anything that he said? Have you got anything to add? I really enjoy reading your comments, and I always try and respond, especially to people who comment early. If you've enjoyed this content, and if you enjoy my content in general, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and please hit the notification bell so you get told when I have upcoming content. Thank you so much for listening. I've really enjoyed sharing these tips with you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.